I knew something was wrong the moment the specimen jar twitched. Not tipped, not rolled. Twitched. Just a tiny, almost polite movement, like whatever was inside had bumped the glass from the wrong side and immediately realized it wasn't supposed to. I stood there with my gloved hand frozen midair, the smell of formalin sharp in my nose, my brain scrambling to invent a normal explanation. There isn't one. And I should be clear about something before I go any further. I'm not the kind of person who panics easily. Pathology trains that out of you fast. You see things most people never will. You learn to separate what's human from what's clinical. You learn how to turn curiosity into distance. But that jar didn't care about distance. I was working as a pathology assistant at the time, mostly handling surgical specimens on overnight rotations, late cases, emergency resections, the stuff that couldn't wait for morning. Night pathology has its own rhythm, slower, quieter. The building feels hollow after visiting hours end, like the hospital exhales and leaves just enough life inside to keep the lights on. That night had already been long, too long. We were short-staffed, and I'd been bouncing between grossing stations, logging specimens, double-checking labels, and trying to keep my coffee warm long enough to remember it existed. Around 2:17 a.m., the courier dropped off a rush case from the OR. No heads-up call, no explanation. Just a sealed biohazard bag and a clipboard with one line scribbled across the requisition. Stat. Unknown tissue. Possible contamination. That alone was odd. Surgeons love details. Even when they don't know what something is, they say that. They speculate. They guess. Unknown tissue is not something you write casually. I signed it in, logged the time, and carried the bag into the gross room. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Stainless steel counters reflected everything in harsh, unforgiving detail. The room smelled like disinfectant and chemicals, and something faintly metallic. Blood, probably, clinging to the air no matter how many times it got scrubbed out. I placed the bag on the counter and opened it. Inside was a single specimen jar, clear glass, tight lid, proper labeling. Patient ID matched the requisition. Procedure listed as exploratory laparotomy. Specimen description. Removed from abdominal cavity. No size, no orientation, just that. I lifted the jar. That's when it moved. At first, my brain tried to downgrade it. Temperature shift, I thought. Air pressure. Glass does that sometimes. Liquids expand, contract. But the movement hadn't been the liquid. It had been something inside the liquid. I held the jar up to the light. Inside floated a mass of tissue, roughly fist-sized, irregular, darker than I expected, deep reddish-brown, almost purplish in places. Not clearly organ-specific, no obvious anatomical landmarks. It didn't look like bowel, didn't look like liver, didn't look like anything I recognized. As I tilted the jar slightly, the tissue shifted with the fluid, and then it pulsed. Once. Slow. Deliberate. I actually laughed. A short, sharp sound that echoed too loudly in the empty room. Okay, I said to myself, that's enough caffeine. I set the jar down and stepped back. Tissue can appear to move sometimes. Muscle fibers contract post-excision. Nerves fire residual signals. It's rare, but not unheard of. That explanation fit, barely. I picked up the clipboard and read through the paperwork again. No note about unusual activity. No warning. Just urgency. I checked the timestamp from the OR. The specimen had been removed less than 20 minutes earlier. That was fast. Usually by the time something gets to pathology, whatever residual activity there might have been is long gone. I reached for my scalpel. The moment my glove brushed the jar again, it pulsed a second time, stronger. The fluid rippled. I pulled my hand back like I'd touched a hot surface. My heart started doing that uncomfortable thing where it beats too hard, too fast, like it's trying to climb out of your throat. I told myself to stop being dramatic. I unscrewed the lid. The smell hit me first. Not rot, Not infection. Something else. Warm. Organic. Wrong. Formalin should overpower everything. It preserves. It sterilizes. It flattens scent into something sharp and dead. This smell pushed back. I leaned in cautiously, peering into the jar. The tissue floated near the surface now like it was buoyant in a way it hadn't been before. I reached in with forceps. The instant metal touched flesh. It recoiled. Not drifting. Recoiling. The forceps slipped from my grip and clattered against the counter. I staggered backward, heart hammering, breath shallow. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." That wasn't residual nerve activity. That was response. I backed away from the grossing station and stared at the jar from across the room, like it might lunge at me if I got too close. My rational mind scrambled. Could it be contaminated with something reactive? Some kind of parasite? A chemical interaction? But even as I thought it, I knew. Whatever was in that jar wasn't supposed to still be doing anything at all. I checked the requisition again, hands shaking now. The patient was listed as stable. No complications. No notes about unexpected findings, which meant whatever this thing was, it hadn't been noticed. Or worse, it had been noticed and intentionally removed without explanation. I glanced at the door. For a brief, shameful second, I considered walking out, leaving the jar right there, pretending I'd never opened the bag. But that's not how pathology works. Specimens don't disappear, and ignoring something like this would haunt me a lot longer than dealing with it. I pulled a fresh pair of gloves over my trembling hands and approached the station again, slowly, carefully. The tissue was still now, perfectly still, like it was waiting. I documented everything, or at least I tried to. Specimen exhibits unusual contractile response sounded ridiculous on paper. I deleted it, rewrote it, deleted it again. Finally, I wrote, "Specimen demonstrates unexpected movement upon manipulation. Clinical, vague, safe." I began the gross examination. As soon as I removed the tissue from the jar and placed it on the cutting board, the room felt different, heavier. The lights seemed dimmer, though I knew they hadn't changed. The tissue sat there glossy and wet, edges twitching faintly like it was adjusting to exposure. I swallowed hard. Using the scalpel, I made a shallow incision. The tissue flinched. I dropped the blade. This time, I didn't laugh. This time, I stepped back, chest tight, palms slick with sweat. "This is alive," I said out loud. Saying it made it real. The tissue pulsed again, stronger now, rhythmic, unmistakable, like a heartbeat. I did the only thing that made sense. I called the attending pathologist. He answered on the third ring, groggy and annoyed. "This better be important," he said. "I think we have a problem," I replied. I explained, or tried to. There are only so many ways you can tell someone that a specimen is reacting to stimuli without sounding unhinged. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then he sighed. "Are you tired?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "But that's not what this is." Another pause. "Send me photos." I did. Close-ups, wide shots, video even, though my hands shook so badly the footage was barely usable. While I waited, I stood on the opposite side of the room, watching the tissue. It didn't move while I wasn't near it. That should have reassured me. It didn't. My phone buzzed. One message. "Do not proceed further. Seal the specimen. I'm on my way." My stomach dropped. That wasn't normal. It took him 40 minutes to get there. The longest 40 minutes of my life. During that time, the tissue began to change. Its surface tightened, almost contracting inward. The color deepened. Veins, actual veins, became visible beneath the surface, threading themselves into patterns that hadn't been there before. Once, I swear, it shifted orientation on the board, turning slightly toward me. I kept my distance. When the attending finally arrived, he looked worse than tired. He looked scared. He didn't say hello. He didn't take off his coat. He walked straight to the grossing station, stared at the specimen, and went very, very quiet. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he said finally. My mouth went dry. "You've seen this before," I said. He didn't answer. He put on gloves. And when he did, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. His hands were shaking too. "I need you to listen very carefully," he said. "And I need you to do exactly what I say." He retrieved a second container. Thick, opaque plastic, reinforced, nothing like our standard specimen jars. "Whatever this is," he continued, "it should not be exposed to open air." "What is it?" I asked. He hesitated. "I don't know," he said, "but I know it's not supposed to be active." As if on cue, the tissue spasmed, a sharp, sudden contraction that lifted part of it off the board before slapping back down with a wet sound. I gagged. "Jesus," I whispered. He swore under his breath. Together we transferred the specimen into the new container. The moment the lid sealed shut, the movement stopped. Instantly, silence returned to the room. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "That patient," I said. "The one this came from. Is he okay?" The attending looked at me. "No," he said quietly. "He died on the table." My knees nearly buckled. "But the chart was updated," he said. "After the fact." I stared at the container. "Then what?" I asked slowly. "Did we just remove?" He didn't answer. Instead, he labeled the container with a code I'd never seen before and placed it inside a locked transport case. "This case never existed," he said. "You never saw this specimen. You never handled it." "I can't just forget this," I said. He met my eyes. "You will," he said, "if you're smart." I wish that had been the end of it. It wasn't. 2 nights later, I was home, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second of that shift. Just as I started to drift off, I felt it. That pressure, that heaviness, like something was very close. I opened my eyes and felt my stomach drop. On my nightstand sat a specimen jar, clear glass, tight lid. Inside, the tissue pulsed. Once. Slow. Alive. If you've ever had a moment where reality quietly breaks, where nothing explodes and no alarms go off, but you know your life has just split in half, that was mine. I don't work in pathology anymore. I don't work in healthcare at all. And sometimes late at night when my apartment is quiet and the air feels too still, I swear I can feel something moving, waiting. If this story made your skin crawl, or if you've ever had a case that still doesn't make sense no matter how many years have passed, tell me about it, because I don't think that sample was supposed to survive being removed. I think it was supposed to come home, and I'm terrified it finally did.